Welcome back to the Calm Mind Podcast, the last Mind Calm Cast pod that we're going to have before you come on over to the UK. You give me one job, do an intro, do it right. You're going to come in here, the first thing you're going to do is tell me off.
Yeah, I'm gonna slap you.
Slap me? Like YouTube wrestling?
Have you ever heard of slap battles?
No, what? That's not a thing.
So apparently I think it originated in Russia. I don't know, most of them seem to be Russians. But it's basically like arm wrestling, but instead, everybody gets together, good wholesome time around a table, but instead of arm wrestling, you slap your opponent, and like if you flinch, you get like a penalty, and if you're knocked out, the other person wins. It's usually for people with beards, because I guess that softens the blow, or like cushion, like big bearded like Russian men, or like people with like big curly hair that also cushions the blow, like yours.
I'm not playing slap, but you're not getting to slap me for just the reason that I have curly hair.
I just wonder how big your hands are, now that I think of it. Like I have
my hands?
Have you ever considered yourself to have big hands or big meaty hands?
I consider myself to have relatively normal, ordinary sized hands. I don't think I have particularly. Do you have big hands? I assume you have long, slender fingers. I don't know why I think that.
I mean, they're average for whatever my size is, but like, yeah, I would say they're like artist hands. They're not thick. they're not, but they're not like dainty. They're not like skinny. They're not. Yeah, everybody I guess thinks they're
dainty. It's okay if you have dainty hands. There's nothing wrong with dainty hands.
What is dainty? What is considered dainty? A dainty finger? Like, it looks proportionate. They're not. My fingers are not long. Like I think. Like, when I look at my hand, it looks like what I picture a hand to be. But I'm assuming that's how it is for everybody else.
I would assume that's the case.
But when I see your hand, I would not think that. Let me see your hand for a second, Toby. The other side, not your palm. No, you see, like, to me, like maybe the size of your nails are not not the size of my nails. Like, to me, that's the proportions.
I bite my nails. To be fair, I bite my nails too.
Like, so it's like, your hand does look very similar to mine, actually.
Do you know what we're setting up for? Is a tweet in which when we finally meet, the first thing we'll do, we can put our hands press them up against each other. We finally met. We finally did it.
Okay, let's do it.
And then we'll hold hands.
It's just I like talking about things that people never think about even. Like, but it's hard because like when you pose these questions to like your friends, you're like, they can't answer because they never thought about it. But like, this is literally the perfect opportunity. That's what a podcast is all about, I guess. Like, making you answer these questions that you never answer.
For the benefit of our listeners, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe they'll start thinking about things they never thought of. Like, I love experiences, because there are so many common experiences that everybody feels, but nobody talks about. Because it's like, there are experiences that you forget immediately after you think about it.
Oh, I had one of those just the other day.
You remember?
Which now you reminded me, and this is perfect podcast material. Cool. I was walking yesterday, and you know how like sometimes you'll just smell a smell, and it'll just take you to a specific, like a really specific set of memories.
Yeah, episode 3 of this podcast, we talked about that for like 20 minutes.
Oh, well, yesterday I smelt the smell of collecting stickers for Star Wars Episode 1 in 1999 and looking at the holofoil of a Jar Jar Binks sticker. That was just all in one moment of smell, and so as I was walking and following this group of people where I assumed the smell was emanating from, I was like trying to huff it up and just like and every time I was like, yeah, that's Star Wars Episode 1 sticker collection, yeah, it was so weird, it was like the weirdest thing. And
this is my entire life. That is like smells triggering nostalgia, but also lighting. Does lighting ever trigger nostalgia?
Yeah,
that's my entire
lighting,
life.
temperature, yeah.
Like, especially if that's why I have LED lights in every single corner of my room, because then let's say I'm doing something that I think can produce like a core memory, like let's say I'm about to watch a movie that I think will become like my favorite movie, or like listening to a new album that I think will become something important to me. I'll try to set up my lighting in a specific way. That way, if I ever want to remember that feeling in the future, I just put that lighting again. And
whoa, that's a hack. That's a brain hack.
And it literally is, and it's I guess it's Pavlovian, right? And it's like, and I do that with music too. So, I mean, I've already said it, but like, that's why I listen to music every single while doing everything, because if I do something awesome and I want to remember it, I just play that song again.
That's so fascinating to me, because I think, like you say, like how do you say it, Pavlovian?
Pavlovian is just conditioning, I guess.
Yeah, the conditioning, like, that is something that I think humans instinctually, when they hear about it, and they hear about the idea that, like, there are a number of triggers that cause me to act and behave in a specific way, or have a specific memory or thought process, I think people like to, like, not me. No, I have autonomy. I have humanity and individuality. Like, I don't go for that. We all do. But the idea to instead embrace that and try and almost actively engineer, not just like good habits as the result of like associating putting on your shoes with going for a lengthy walk or something, but like actually like, I think I might really enjoy this film. Let's create a trigger before I watch the film so that if I ever want to capture that feeling. That is wholly unique, and I don't think I've heard that before. I think that's incredible. Yeah, I think that's incredible.
And I've noticed that it seems wrong to me to think that a civilized human is someone who denies the fact that they're an animal. It's the opposite. It's someone who can control, like, admits that they are an animal and can control it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get what you mean. It's, you know, like, at the end of the day, we are a social species, and part of being social is being aware of the cues and behaviors that are common across all of us. Exactly. And actually, I think the further you try and ascend and sort of separate yourself from that, and I'm above it all, I'm above kind of human animalistic behaviors, that's not to say that, like you say, you should control them. You should absolutely be in a position where you're actively trying to participate in this society thing we're all doing together. But I think like accepting that we're all on that page together, and we all do weird, quirky, sometimes odd things, and that's just part of being a human being. A human species is like a normal thing and a good thing. It helps you integrate,
especially as like a large group. Like, I feel like a lot of people think the solutions to like world problems are these simple things that go against biology and like psychology, because they think, no, humans will, if they hear about a solution to their problem, they'll do it. But no, humans are animals, and so you have to. It's good to have an ideal and strive for that future and that solution. But first, we have to acknowledge that it's going to be hard to get to that ideal future because humans are animals. So let's make some natural steps to this more ideal society with humans.
Did I tell you that I've just finished listening to this book, Atomic Habits? Did I shout this out in a previous episode?
Think, have you?
Well, I did a vlog, and I was talking about how I just started listening to this book, and I've now finished the book, and it's really good. And it's about human behavior, right? And it's about habits and how we form them, and how we can potentially master them, because a good habit is like a 1% improvement on your life. It's not going to change 100%. Everything, but lots of good habits accumulate. And one of the core tenets is, like, with a habit, make it easy, make it accessible, make it rewarding, And they were telling this story, and you'll forgive me, I don't remember where it happened, but it was in a part of sort of a third world country. There was a huge issue with sanitation and with hand washing. And so they thought, well, the way that we're going to solve this is by educating people on hand washing and how it can help you not get disease.
Yeah.
What they found is that the education didn't do an awful lot. People understood that if I wash my hands, it's going to help, but that alone didn't do a lot. But the thing that changed it for generations and made hand washing an entire habit was they switched the soap with a nice smelling soap.
Exactly.
And the reward of a nice smell got the habit of hand washing so ingrained that disease went down. Like, nuts.
Wow.
Because we're humans, and soap smells nice.
Yeah.
It smells nice, and still to this day, that practice is continued. And I thought about that in my own life, and I was like, yeah, actually, like, I'm probably fractionally more gross when I'm on my own. And, I wash my hands, but do I wash them as thoroughly as you should wash them? I know probably not. But that time I had that candy-smelling soap, oh man, I washed my hands day in and day out. And like, you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, we're all just we're just biological sort of like wiring that just likes things that smells and tastes goods.
Yeah, you're literally proving my point. I love it.
Do you have anything like that in your life that you've noticed?
I feel like that's every part of my life, so it's like I can't think of one specific thing. But I mean, like I said, like going to the gym while listening to my favorite like podcasts, driving. Like I was really afraid of driving the first year or two when I got my license, and I think something that got me. Something that helped me overcome my fear was listening to music while driving, and that's why I started to look forward to driving, because it's like, oh, now it's my special time. I get to rock out to anime theme songs or whatever, and it helped. So I think that's definitely a good example. Same thing was like, just working, like listening to lo-fi music while setting up perfect lighting while having a cup of whatever my favorite drink is. I literally took a picture of it one time, like my ideal studying setup back in college, and it was beautiful. Like I also have multiple monitors, so I have like on one half of the monitor lo-fi, then on another monitor you have like the synonyms, like the thesaurus up while I was writing like an essay, and then like I have it's just organization is probably, I think, organization is the ultimate advice, honestly. Like you can't say organization is, there's no time where organization is bad.
Yeah.
So
I feel that very much. I did my taxes yesterday morning, and as has been my tradition for doing my taxes every month, is I think, well, I'll crack through. I can't put something on that'll be too distracting, but I can put music on, and for some reason, it's become the Last of Us 2 soundtrack, which is a really gritty and like villainous soundtrack to do your taxes to, but for whatever reason that's the one, and it's like you say, it's like that Pavlovian dog conditioning where it's like whoa, I'm doing my taxes now. Because the music and the taxes are so, I've done it for so many months in a row where it's like it's tied up.
I actually want to bring it back to the lo-fi, listening to lo-fi while studying, because I feel like that's very relatable to a lot of people. But I have a list on my phone of literally like 100+ memories that I've remembered and written down. And I'm going through it, and a lot of them, like, they're personal things that people wouldn't like I can talk about them, but people won't understand what it means, because like it's references to things in high school or like my family and stuff like that, or places, like restaurants that you guys don't know about. But like one of them that I think people could relate to is like, I wrote the day I discovered lo-fi, and it was because I literally have like an era of my life before and after lo-fi. It's like before and after like Christ. Lo-fi is my savior. So I feel like the reason why it changed my life too is because it was specifically nostalgic to me. Because do you know what Adult Swim?
I know Adult Swim, yeah.
So on Cartoon Network at night is Adult Swim. So on Saturday nights on Adult Swim is Toonami. That's when they air their anime. And Adult Swim is very famous for their interstitials. Right before and after commercials, they have like a little message with music in the background, like, "Oh, I hope you're enjoying," and then they'll say like a nice joke. And usually in the background, it's some kind of hip hop. But a lot of times, especially like in the background of like Toonami, there was also lo-fi, and that's specifically because there's a specific anime called Samurai Champloo. Have you ever heard of Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah, I watched Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, you watched Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah, ages ago, forever ago. Okay,
so same director, I believe, made Samurai Champloo. And both shows are music focused. Like literally the names of the anime and episodes are based on, music. And while Cowboy Bebop is like a space western with jazz, Samurai Champloo is this samurai anime with hip hop. Okay, specifically lo-fi hip hop, because the guy who created that soundtrack, who was the composer for Samurai Champloo, was a guy called Nujabes, who is considered by all lo-fi artists as the grandfather of lo-fi. He's basically the guy who created modern lo-fi, and it basically comes from this anime. So
that's
since
cool.
The beginning of since the creation of lo-fi, it has always been associated with anime. In the beginning of like lo-fi's debut online, let's say on YouTube, people would just make lo-fi beats and put like anime, GIFs in the background.
Yeah.
And that's made it even more associated with it, especially also because they would play it on Toonami and stuff like that. So when I was a kid, I would sometimes encounter Toonami. Like sometimes you'd encounter channels or like adult stuff that you were like, that was like creepy to you because you wouldn't like stay and watch it. You'd be like, oh, this is for adults, I'm not gonna continue watching and go back to my kids shows or stuff like that. Maybe not for you because you had like an older brother, But
Yeah, no, that doesn't. I didn't really have that experience actually.
so for me, it's like I'll be like I'm watching Cartoon Network, and all of a sudden it's Adult Swim, so I'll like it's 9 o'clock or whatever, and I'll stop watching this channel, go back to Nickelodeon or something. So it's the same thing with Toonami, where it's like it's time for the anime. I'm not gonna watch this because I'm a kid. It looks too adult for me because I mean Cowboy Bebop and like that's an adult show, although that plays like at 2 a.m. at night, while in the beginning of the block is like the more mainstream anime like Dragon Ball Z and like Naruto. So I always associated it with that experience. So it's kind of nostalgic. And then when I just discovered lo-fi online, I'm like, wait a second, this is the music that played during
back then.
And then it brought back all these memories, and that's why lo-fi specifically is nostalgic for me. And I feel like that's why a lot of people think it's nostalgic, because I mean everybody consider it nostalgic, even though it's not like they had lo-fi in their childhood or whatever.
Yeah.
That's mostly because just lo-fi it's by the name of it, lo-fi music is low fidelity, so it sounds like it's
from the past. Yeah.
But for me, it's even more personal, not just because it sounds low fidelity, but also because it was a thing that was in the background, in a couple of my memories, and then it was unlocked once I discovered lo-fi.
Ironically, or maybe what's the opposite of ironically? I don't know. It's coincidentally.
Irony is when the opposite thing happens. So I guess coincidence maybe it could be the opposite of irony, actually.
Somewhat similarly, you've brought back a memory of a time when lo-fi, in my mind, was not associated with a music genre, but there was a trend in early, like we're talking like 2010 YouTube, called Lo-Fi Week, in which during the rise of it was like during the time of lots of YouTubers, like the big YouTubers, used a DSLR. Everyone else is still using their webcam or their phone. And there sort of became this desire to revisit the original days of YouTube, like 2008, a whole 2 years ago, or a whole 4 years ago. Let's go back to 2008 and let's all vlog from our webcams and stuff. And the challenge was to make videos using the older technology and that kind of thing. And it was like a bit of a trend for a couple of years in that period. I don't think they do it anymore, but
actually, I
it was
think
quite an encouraged thing.
They probably don't do that specific thing, but I think that kind of has a resurgence now with TikTok and just another genre of music also, bedroom pop. Have you ever heard of bedroom pop?
I've never heard the term until just this second.
Now everybody can make music at home, okay? Even teenagers. Basically, there are a lot of talented, people that even I've tried to do it, and maybe in the future I'll produce like a bedroom pop song. But it's basically you can easily make like a lo-fi beat or like a nice instrumental with some chords, and then just sing to it and like record it in a crappy mic, or like just even add a filter to make it sound like lo-fi, and then you just basically create a song, and it's like relatively low effort, but it's still like catchy, and that's considered bedroom pop. There are a lot of examples that I'd get copyrighted if I played it.
We should we'll do a TikTok when you come over. You can show me. We can do a bedroom pop.
But so like a lot of these things have become popular on social media and stuff like that, and obviously like SoundCloud, the music sharing website, like because there's also like SoundCloud rap. Have you heard of SoundCloud rap? A lot of famous rappers nowadays, especially like the trap artists, started out as like people who just uploaded hip hop on SoundCloud. Same thing with bedroom pop and like lo-fi pop and lo-fi hip hop. It's all on just like these websites that people just listen to, and anybody can make it. I'm sorry that this episode is just me like bringing up topics that are related and seeing if you even know what these topics are. But do you know what liminal spaces are?
Liminal spaces. A liminal space is a space that exists between other spaces?
Yes. I mean, is that because you know what liminal means?
No, not
Wait, so then
properly,
how'd you come up with that if you didn't know it? Because I mean, that's basically
because
correct.
I've heard it used in context, I assume.
And do you know what they were using it? What was the context? Like,
liminal space
like,
between...
What were they talking about during that time?
It was in Bo Burnham's Inside. That's right, he's talking about his sock puppet. The sock puppet exists in a liminal space between life and death, or whatever it is.
That's
not quite not going to die.
So liminality, the concept of liminality is anything that exists between two. It's like a transitional point. Anything that exists between two parts. So, for example, early 20s is usually a very liminal time in a person's life. They're still they're an adult, but they're still a kid. They're not quite an adult. They don't know what the hell they are, basically.
Sure,
that's like a liminal existence, basically. Even like a person between jobs, that's a liminal existence. A liminal space is literally like an environment or like a room or anything that is at a transitional point. So there are a lot of pictures online, and especially like on subreddits called like Liminal Space or like Twitter accounts that post liminal spaces. It's basically these creepy like pictures of places that you don't like, places that like let's say a house or like a amusement park or like a pool, but at transitional times. So it's times where people aren't normally there. Times that you're like, for example, like when you're at your school but like at night.
Yeah.
That's a liminal space.
I know this, but I know this under a different name. I know this under the name the Backrooms.
The Backroom is an example of a liminal space.
Right. Okay.
But for example, your school at night is not a backroom. It's just another example of a liminal space. But yes, the Backrooms are 100%. They're the essence of liminal spaces. They're the most
I'm
liminal
actually
spaces.
Fascinated by the Backrooms.
Me too.
I'm following this TikTok account where it's like a POV journey through the backrooms, and it's like you walk into a big room and it's empty and the wallpaper is really like, I guess, Art Deco, I don't know, and then there's like 2 slides in the wall and you can choose to take the blue slide or the red slide. Where did they go? And like, it's like, oh, it's all wrong and creepy, and I think it's the perfect setting for future horror movies and obviously VR games.
We're going to start,
general.
Especially since it's becoming more popular, in a couple of years, we're going to start seeing liminal space related horror movies. Like, I'm going to start thinking of like more liminal spaces. Like, for example, what's it called? A playground at night is another liminal space. Or like the suburbs. A lot of like liminal spaces are just pictures of like endless houses in a suburb.
Right.
Those are like creepy because it's like, it's exactly like a back room. It's like you don't know the context of this thing. You don't know what is the intentions of this space. Like
I have this thing with horror where like there's a Vsauce video on this that's old and it's fantastic about the creeps. And I've got this thing about horror where like I don't think when you see the monster, it's not scary. No. I don't care. There's no depiction of any creature in fiction, more or less.
I mean, there is for me.
There might, but give me a space where you shouldn't be there and it just feels wrong. You're not welcome. There's no observable threat, but something is up. Something's
off. Uncanny.
Any day of the week, and I'm spooked out. But you've got a horror creature
because that's real.
Yeah, it's real, and your brain doesn't know. Is this fun or is this scary? I'm gonna put it in that mid zone, that liminal space. Creepy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. What's this creature though? You say that there's creatures in fiction that you think hit that.
I'm over it. Obviously, the more you see it, like I am a visual person, so if I see something that visually scares me, I'll be scared of it. But I'll get over it if I see it over and over again. Like for example, as a kid, I was afraid of Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Interesting. Yeah, fair enough. I can see that though.
But then I don't care about it anymore. But I think that I'm still scared of is Jeff the Killer. You know Jeff the Killer?
Yeah. I think so.
So I've noticed that it's the uncertainty of creatures or spaces that it makes me scared. I don't know the intentions of this character. I don't like. Same thing with aliens, where it's like they could be evil, but they could be good. I don't know, and they have uncanny faces. They're close to human, but they're not quite. And I mean, this is an innate fear in animals, like in specifically humans, or the more evolved animals, where it's like you're supposed to be afraid of things that you don't know. You're supposed to fear the other. You're supposed to fear things that are close to you but not quite. Because, for example, for humans, you know how humans are afraid of anything that falls under the uncanny valley.
Yeah. There's that gap between scary and familiar.
So there's a slightly incorrect theory online that's like, if we're afraid of something that looks human but isn't quite human, does that imply that in our past there were humans or there were creatures that looked like us but weren't?
Human but were a little off. Yeah. Well, that's the common one you hear.
It's a cool theory, but technically, first there were other species of hominids that lived alongside us that were our enemies, like
But we probably weren't creeped out by them. We were probably just like.
Although I'm creeped out by some pictures of Neanderthals actually, because they are uncanny. Okay. But the actual answer is
they're creeped out by pictures of you, but that's because they haven't seen pictures before.
Exactly. But the actual answer is because we're supposed to be afraid of the dead. We're supposed to be afraid of people with diseases.
Right.
Because you're supposed to stay away from them. That's how we evolved and lived on, because we buried the dead, or we did not go near the dead, or we did not go near people who had diseases.
Right.
Looked uncanny. And that made us stronger. So
that's interesting. I feel like I've heard another theory about it, but I can't remember what. But go on.
Okay. But this goes back to what we said in the beginning, where it's like, just because we have this innate fear doesn't justify fearing it now that we have control and know about this fear. You can still fear it, but just acknowledge that it's just a fear, and you shouldn't be like, I don't want to go near diseased people. They don't deserve my time or whatever. I don't know. Obviously, you shouldn't be near someone with a contagious disease, but it's like, I don't know, leprosy is contagious, I guess. But there's a lot of disabilities that someone could be like, hey Ron, are you saying that you shouldn't be around people with disabilities or something?
Right.
I don't know, microcephaly is technically something that could be considered uncanny. You know what microcephaly is?
No, I don't.
People born with like way smaller heads, like a pinhead. Have you ever seen pinheads? People with pinheads?
No, yes, maybe. Hang on. Oh gosh, yes, I do know this. Yes.
Yeah, like people would have them in like circuses and stuff, which is cruel and stuff. But
yeah.
I have like some kind of that's the same kind of uncanny fear that I have. It's like it's a human. They're human, but they're not what I'm used to. I'm not used to seeing a human that looks like that. So I'll be afraid for a second, but it's like you should still treat them like a human,
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of argument.
I'm more interested in the utility of Uncanny Valley from the point of view of like specifically like theatrical and gaming experiences.
Yeah, me too.
I am fascinated by the possibilities of that, and we've gone full circle to the beginning of the podcast. Like, I like that there are just human bits of my brain that, even though I know, like when I type in Jeff the Killer, or what's the other one, Momo
Momo, but I think Jeff is more.
I Google those things, and like my brain knows it's a picture on my phone. It can't hurt you. That's like whatever. I love that my brain involuntarily goes, get out of there.
Yeah.
And I just think that's kind of a gift almost, that we get to. There are just some things that will scare us, and that like you can play with that and experience those emotions very safely. Like at the end of the day, no matter how scary they make the game, no matter how scary the movie is or the creepypasta, you're in no real danger. And so participating in that, I think is great fun. I think it's the kind of thing that, if I'm really scared and then I come out of it half hour later and go, whoa, that was something, I've actually probably had quite a good time,
I agree. Feeling feelings is awesome.
Feeling feelings is awesome. Do you know what else is awesome, though?
No.
Okay. Well, then that was my question. I was just asking if you knew what else was awesome, and if you don't know, then we're not going to have awesome things to talk about in the podcast.
Wait, I know an awesome thing. What's it called? Generating Pokemon.
You do know something awesome. We should do that.
Was that what you were thinking? Generating Pokemon? Was that awesome?
That was what I was thinking, actually. So that was the cleanest segue. You got what I was putting down. You got what I was laying out there. You got
Again,
you felt it.
No clean segue starts with, you know what I'm thinking?
You know what I'm thinking?
One day we'll learn that.
One day we'll nail it. Yeah, this is the second half and maybe the only other part of the podcast today, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps.
We're trying to have a slightly shorter podcast because I'm busy preparing for my trip, so I don't want to spend too much time editing this. But yeah, we'll try.
You just don't want to. You don't want to waste all the you and me hanging out energy now. Like we got a whole
too, actually. No,
2 weeks. We've got loads of time to talk. So
okay, let's generate that Pokemon.
Here we go.
Okay, I'm a huge fan of this Pokemon, but again, this is terrible for the thumbnail. It has no face. Circuitry.
Circuitry. Okay. I like this Pokemon too.
I'm a huge fan
I like this Pokemon too. Yeah, it's nice. It's just an interesting, quirky design.
I think it's the essence of Ultra Beasts. Like, a lot of them look like this. This is how Ultra Beasts should look like. It has personality, and it has no face, but it has one of the best personalities. Like, have you ever seen it move in the game and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's like just bouncing everywhere.
Yeah,
and just kind of like it's coming after you. It's coming after you. Run away.
It's like a happy zombie. And I like when they look like inanimate objects, but aren't literally an inanimate object. It's just this being that evolved to look like chords, which makes sense because they're also roots. Because it's a circuitry tree. It's a tree made of circuitry. It's so smart. It's such a good.
It's brilliant. You're right. It's the essence of an Ultra Beast. Like I think some of the other Ultra Beasts look quite traditionally alien or insectoid or whatever.
Yeah.
But with circuitry, you're really like. If the goal is to create a creature that existed in another universe where the rules are different, this is the perfect kind of way to do something like that, where biological life has been... The rules are rewritten.
Because if you think about it, yes, you have traditional alien-looking Ultra Beasts, like let's say Naganadel is like the most alien-looking one. But it's very familiar to us, so it has a very good reception because it looks like what we traditionally think is an alien, while the other ones look weirder than that, so people don't like it. But for example, Pheromosa, it could be an actual Pokemon. It doesn't have to be an Ultra Beast. Even Buzzwole, if it had eyes, it would be an actual, just legendary Pokemon. Nihilego, if it literally just had eyes, it actually would look like the most normal, honestly. It's just
it really would.
While Circuitry, completely different than anything else. Even Kartana already has a mouth, and it feels like a thing, even though it's the most abstract in terms of shapes and stuff. But it actually has a face, so it's like
I actually adore Kartana. I think it's my favorite Ultra Beast.
Really,
when I got it out of the Pokeball for the first time in Sword and Shield, and it follows you around, and it's so small. I think that's part of what I really liked about it is because when you're creating a group of Pokemon to be these intergalactic, interuniversal aliens, and there is that inclination to make them all big and scary. And Kartana's tiny. It's this little tiny alien. And it's like, I love that. And then it's like also in its world, in Sun, Ultra Moon, it's got people, like human people who like are followers of it. It's brilliant. It's so good.
By the way, when I think I said Kartana instead of Celesteela, when I was saying abstract shapes and a face. Kartana doesn't have a face. Yeah. I meant Celesteela when I was talking about abstract shapes and like a mouth.
Got ya.
Kartana actually has the least.
Kartana does have a mouth.
It
does have a mouth. It's got like little flaps. It's got little.
Yeah. Kartana is like the most traditionally like cool of them. Like people would like. Everybody likes Kartana. I feel like it's like
Yeah.
It's also it's origami. People. It's a familiar thing. Because for a second I'm like, I thought you were saying Celesteela.
No. I think Kartana's great. Celesteela, not so fond of. Again, there's something about the shape that's just kind of, that's odd.
Celesteela triggers my megalophobia and my fear of just giant structures, especially ones with like that are complicated and have abstract shapes. It looks alien. But then the more I learn about it, like the more I realize it's based on the tale of Princess Kaguya, which is a huge tale in Japan that is in a lot of media, has been translated into things like that I love, like Naruto and Kaguya-sama and like a lot of things in anime. It's just a big motif. Like, what are things in America, like stories that like are translated into that are constantly translated into like pieces of media within media? Like, I don't know, like Sherlock Holmes probably is an example, or like what's like an ancient tale, like an ancient Western tale that is always translated into some kind of
and told over and over and over again.
Told over again in different ways, not like literally just.
I don't know about America because obviously the US is a lot younger.
Sorry,
like
not America. I'm talking about
like if you don't know the West in general, like we've got Sherlock Holmes, we've got the works of Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet's been
Romeo and Juliet
again.
Is probably is a good parallel to Kaguya.
What other British sort of stories? I feel like there are. It's less common, but like I feel like a lot of Western countries have some variant on the St. George and the Dragon story. Do you know that?
Yeah, but does Beowulf come before that?
Oh, I'm not sure. I feel like they're all sorts of somewhat rated. Oh, King Arthur, like the story of King Arthur and Merlin is like always retold and re-related. That's like a classic, I guess.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood. I was up there. I was up going through sort of Sherwood Forest area for the first time in my life.
Did you visit Alex?
I did, actually. I was with Alex, Water Guardian Alex. We were hanging out, and he took me to this beautiful, beautiful steakhouse. It was the best steak that I've ever had in my life, and it was fantastic.
But how's the forest, though?
See, now you've caught me in a lie a little bit here. You've caught me out because I was. exaggerating. We went past Sherwood Forest, but we didn't get out and go into the forest. We went to Nottingham and we hung out in Nottingham, which is close to Sherwood Forest, but not as close as Nottingham would have you believe. They've got like a Robin Hood statue and they're like, it's the home of Robin Hood, but it's actually like an hour away. It's a little bit further away. But we were doing it because something I'm hoping to kind of get you involved with.
I was about to bring that up, actually, yeah.
Well, this is for something, because... So, Bellanona? Is that how you say it?
Ballonley?
The area, Ballamore.
Glenwood Tangle.
Area, Glenwood Tangle is inspired by Sherwood Forest.
Yeah.
Supposedly. So, I was up there because I was driving through. And,
but you didn't go inside and record your video?
We did it by the Robin Hood statue in Nottingham.
Okay,
we felt that was close enough. And the idea is a secret project, I'm not going to say quite what, where I'm going to visit all of the towns that inspired the Galar region. And actually, when you're here, I'm quite excited to take you. You're going to see at least 4 locations from the Galar region. You're going to get to see all in one day as well, which is super exciting.
And just between you and me, but technically this is going to be on the podcast, Circhester is one of my favorite cities in all of Pokemon.
Oh, same.
So I'm glad to go to that counterpart, I guess.
We'll probably spend the most time there. It's a nice city. It's a gorgeous city. That's the city of Bath in the UK, for anyone who doesn't know. And you might be like, hang on, isn't there a something Chester or a Chichester or something in the UK? And there is. There's I think in looking up and researching for this, what I found is that the Pokemon Company hasn't actually confirmed most things. Most of the area, or about half of them, are not confirmed. And for most games, they don't typically confirm it.
But I think Galar is probably the one they confirmed the most because they had like a pamphlet, right?
Yes, that's the thing. So when Sword and Shield had just come out, they did a bus tour around various areas that inspired the Galar region. I was luckily, they were kind enough to invite me to go and be on this bus.
And you did this.
I did that, and it's
camera.
now a GIF on. It's a GIF on Twitter. If you type in Birdkeepertoby, you'll find me flapping my wings. But they put out a pamphlet with it that covered about 4 or 5 of the locations that directly inspired the Galar region. Which, as far as I know, I don't think they've done much like that for other regions, which is obviously super cool.
I was gonna say, like, again, they haven't confirmed like every single location in Unova, but like I guess it's just Unova's the easiest to confirm because there's less to look for. There's less locations to scout. But this is a good time to actually bring it up. That I want to make a video about it, but again, nobody would watch it. I want to prove how underrated the Unova soundtrack is based on the fact that every single bridge in Unova has a separate theme. If there were there's 5 bridges. If there were 5 bridges in a different region, let's say Galar, they would share a theme. They may not even have a theme. They would just have the normal route theme. But Unova is the only one that they did that. They were the least lazy when it comes to the soundtrack. Like, it's just an underrated thing that literally nobody else cares. But it's like, am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, no, isn't a bridge a part of a musical, like, score? Isn't a bridge like a thing in music?
Yes. Did you think I was talking about that?
No. But I just think you're so passionate about this, and there's fun wordplay. You should make the video anyway, and if no one watches, then no one watches. But you're just so passionate about it, and I think you should do it.
Let me actually write this down. I'm gonna make a video of just videos I would never make. I mean, we already talked about it on the podcast, but I would actually make a video.
That's a video you could do. Top 10 videos I'd never make. Yeah. And just explain the premise and then talk about like their amazing ideas and I love them, but they're never gonna.
Yeah, I think I'm fine. We'll do that and I'll mention this. But am I wrong? Like, if they were in these bridges were in like Galar,
you're not wrong. 100%. You're not wrong at all.
I bet only 0.1% of Pokemon fans, or at least people who played the Unova games, can remember the theme for all 5 bridges. This
is a direct challenge from True Green 7 to your ear holes.
I want to know if you can remember at least one. Hum it right now. Toby, this is part of your challenge too. Do it. I can't even tell what you're humming.
I'm making it up as I go.
Oh, you're making it up. Hilarious.
I have no idea. But you know what? Gosh, how unlazy of me that I've just come up with the 6th bridge theme for Wait, let's get to the bridge. Okay, I'll
It
stop.
actually sounds like the Royal Unova theme, which goes under the bridges. I don't know if anybody else thinks that, but no, that's what's. You know how we have the segments at the end. Again, some segment in the future, I think, will be another music quiz with Birdkeepertoby. Because I already did that on my channel like 5 years ago, I think, where there was a video where I just tested Toby on some Pokemon music.
The game that I actually think has some of the best Pokemon music is. Did you ever play Colosseum?
Yeah, I haven't finished Colosseum though. I've heard the soundtrack a billion times though. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm like, I'll any day of the week that music comes on, I'm just in love and back there. I'm back in the Ore region. They're such special games. Did you play Gale of Darkness as well, the sequel?
No, but I also have listened to the soundtrack.
Wow. Oh man, what did you make of them when you played them? Did you enjoy them?
Because they were relatively harder at the time, and I was just a kid. I just didn't finish them. So it's like, and I regret doing that, obviously. And the problem is that now my GameCube is my brother's, even though it's technically mine. Nah, it was both of ours, but now it's his, I guess, because he's more of the gamer. So it's like when we split, when our room split, he kept the GameCube. And I just can't play it. He doesn't let me play it.
You can play it here. We could do a little stream. We could. I don't know how long the game is. We could try and knock it out. Like. Yeah, it is. It'd probably be multiple. Yeah. And
I prefer I like catching my Pokemon or like.
Sure.
I don't like when there's a set roster of Pokemon that you have to use, basically.
Sure, I feel that. that.
But I really like the characters in terms of their designs, and the music is amazing. Also, yeah, I prefer like vegetation in my regions. It's all desert, except for like Agate Village or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Agate Village is this beautiful, serene. Like the moment you see it, you're like, I want to jump in the water.
Yeah, I love locations that look exactly like that. Waterfalls and like near a forest. Oh, that's what I want more of in Pokemon games. And I love routes that have like waterfall puzzles and stuff like that. Like that's why I like Unova. My favorite stretch of any Pokemon game is the eastern half of Unova, the eastern third of Unova. It has some of my favorite routes, some of my favorite towns. It's like a whole strip of route and town after route and town of just banger route design and like environment design from Pokemon. And that's my favorite place in all of Pokemon, if anybody asks me. And yeah, a lot of the routes have like either waterfalls or like cliffs and stuff like that. I love like three-dimensional routes. I love layers to my routes. And that's why Kanto, not my favorite. There's literally no layers. It's just a field.
That's fair.
Just a field.
That's fair. I'm trying to think if I have any routes like that.
Like I do
myself,
in general.
But I really can't.
Do you ever think about route design and like routes that are your favorite?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it's certainly like I feel like Hoenn I've just become so familiar with that like I think about I love that like so many of the early routes have re-accessibility and like exploration options.
Yeah.
You unlock a new HM, you can go check out this, you can go check out that. In the first half of the game especially, but then obviously like the one that you've talked about before, the route that you step out and you're like, oh, I'm in Hoenn, I've made it. The rainforest route up to Fortree is fantastic. It really is. It evokes every image that you'd possibly want for the Hoenn region, I think. It's really up there.
Have you looked at the map of Paldea?
Yeah.
Pretty extensively. You made videos of it.
Yeah, I've done a map breakdown, and then I've done a further video talking about like what the deal is with the hole at the center of the map and the ruin. There's like lots of towers across the map as well.
It doesn't look like there's any like dense forest or area that could rival Route 119, but the two places I'm looking forward to are the most foresty area that they look at least foresty, which is like that autumn forest part.
Yes.
Or it's like more
that
like
looks really interesting.
And then that place in the northeast that's like separated by mountains that looks darker, that has bamboos. Those two places are like at the opposite corners and like out in the north. So it's like, especially once I get to like the main like hub in Paldea. Yeah, once I get there, I'm making a beeline to one of those two. But the question is, I am going to be anxious about not fighting the gyms in order. Because if they were to level scale, then yeah, that's not a problem. But now I'm going to be anxious about like, oh, I now spend like hours getting to this gym and I can't battle, he's too strong. Now I'm going to, so now I have to find a different one with a little lower level, but then on the way I'll probably overlevel my Pokemon because now I just spent 2 gym worths of a journey to get to one gym, and now my Pokemon are going to be over-leveled to that new gym that I had to journey for.
My feeling is that... So first of all, there's not like an in order or out of order. There's, right out the gate, there's 2 orders that you could choose from. Because when you leave that opening town, you go left or right. So there are, canonically, 2 first gyms that you can choose from. And so I just choose what... My
just don't
feeling
go
would
up
be,
to the north, basically.
Yeah, my feeling would be... Don't do anything that feels unnatural. If as a Pokemon trainer you encounter that gym, just go in it. I think mastery of the game's difficulty, and I did a video on this recently. I think the issue with level scaling is that if you do level scaling, as fun as it is, and conceptually the idea that each gym leader would have like 6 different teams or 8 different teams depending on your level, well, that's super fun and super in-lore and cool. The decision then becomes Game Freak's as to how difficult the game will be. Because they'll always decide, oh, your highest level is level 30, so we're going to make it level 32 or level 35 or whatever. By giving you choice as to what direction you tackle the gyms, as well as which of the 3 story branches you're going to tackle, how difficult it's going to be falls into your hands. Now, with a game that you've never played before, just do what's natural. But I think once the community has got hold of this game and they've played it through several times, there will start to be very quickly, I think, discussions on the hardest routes possible, the intermediate routes. And as we get a feel for it, I think replayability is going to become a real thing for it. But for the first run through, no one knows what to expect. So just do whatever order, I guess, comes naturally to you. What does your instinct tell you? You know, I really think that's going to be the way to play it for the first time.
I think a lot of people, though, are going to be trying to go up north first for Grusha. Everybody likes Grusha, including me.
Now, this is a weird thing, right? Is that they showed this gym leader using an ice-type Pokemon, and you're like, oh, so I guess that's one of the early gyms. But then you look at the map, and you're like, but how can it be? Because it's at the top, and like, if you are going round, how can that... But why would they show you the final gym leader first? That just doesn't make sense. So I'm like, I'm super confused about why the first gym leader they would show you would be like the in theory, final one.
Well, technically, they showed...
What's any order?
In Sun and Moon, they showed you the final battle. They showed you Kukui.
Well, it's true.
That's why when the music played during that battle, and it was the music that played during every trailer, it was the coolest thing ever. Like, we were listening to it all the time, and we didn't know. I love when that happens.
Yeah, that was actually really rewarding. I didn't think about that, but yeah, it hits with an extra punch because they've been sort of teasing us with it the whole build-up of the game.
Yeah. It's been with us to the beginning, just like Kukui, I guess. So it's like, that's a good job. That's smart. Do you prefer the champion battle theme? Because I do, actually.
I don't know about the theme. I don't really remember the theme for the Howl battle one. So, but like the Kukui, I do remember when Kukui came up, and it really slapped quite hard, and I thought this feels right. This feels correct.
Toby, I think this will actually be fun. If we I forgot to talk about my birthday. So on my birthday, which was a few days ago.
Oh yeah, happy birthday!
Thank you.
For a few days ago.
I did a stream where we did a music tier list. I love doing music tier lists. And we did a legendary battle music tier list. It lasted for like 3.5 hours. I was headbanging. I could send you the link, the unlisted link to that stream. You can see every theme. I'm just going crazy, especially my favorite ones. But again, I know all these themes, so it's not like a surprise. It's not like a reaction. I mean, it's a reaction because it's like visceral. That's music. I'm gonna headbang to it. But it's not like I love seeing blind reactions. I'm a huge reaction fan. I love seeing blind reactions. Even so, I would love to just do a music tier list with you one time on stream, maybe on your stream. And
you can do that.
We have like, I guess, the quote-unquote expert on the music like me, and then someone who's just experienced it for like the second time or something like that, or
I like
the
that.
5th time.
You could definitely do you could play it, get my reaction, ask me if I know where it's from, that kind of thing. I'd be super
that's
down
actually
for that.
more fun because
that could be a lot of fun.
You're not going to be biased. Although you'll remember what's...
I mean, obviously, I'm going to remember some of them. I'll probably remember 80%, but there are going to be those gems in there where I'm like, wait, what's this from? Oh my goodness, this is really cool. Yeah, dude, you know what? I'm really upset with you. I'm annoyed with you. We're going to have beef. You didn't let me know it was your birthday coming up. And I was talking to you the day before.
Do you let me know it's your birthday? What does that mean?
I would, yes. I am a big birthday gloater person. I want all the attention on my birthday. You didn't tell me, and I didn't know, and I was talking to you the day before, and I didn't get to wish you a happy birthday.
You talked to me the day of. And you're like,
sure.
You said something normal. And you're like,
yeah, because I didn't know it was your birthday. And then like I seem like a terrible friend. We run a podcast together. The Mind Calm Cast Pod. Or whatever it was I said.
Doesn't even remember the name of the podcast. I guess it's like...
I don't remember. I don't remember birthdays. I don't remember the name of the...
Nah, because here's the thing. I'm a guy who... I barely congratulate people on their birthdays because I'm anxious that people are going to think that my congratulations is unoriginal. It's a very illogical thought, obviously. I don't want to congratulate them saying happy birthday, and then in the back of their mind they're like, that wasn't an original congratulatory statement. Maybe they're not my real friend.
I promise you, no one has ever said happy birthday to me in any way.
So I just end up not doing it. Same thing with
fine.
anything. For any congratulation, like if someone gets married or whatever, it's like, yeah, I'll try to. If something really big, I'll try to say it. But I'm just embarrassed that I may be saying something that just doesn't sound original. And to them, it's like, even though again they won't think that, but to me, they're gonna think, maybe Ron doesn't love us that much. He didn't.
The wildest thing about that is like, let's say it's someone like gets married and you go, oh, congratulations, right? Just that bare bones, just congratulations, happy for you. I promise you, they're so distracted by the fact that they just got engaged. That just the fact that you showed up to say thank you is more than enough.
Yeah. And then the same on the opposite end, when something bad happens, I can't console a person for the same exact reason, where it's like I want to say something original. I want to say something that actually helps them. I don't want to see like I'm trying to like just know like just get their attention and like and just say sorry. Without offering any actual help or whatever. So, which is, again, that's not what people actually want. They want to just know that you're there. But like, you don't have to do anything special. But like, I don't know. I guess I've had like a bad experience in the past. Like, I think when my best friend, when his grandfather died, and like, it's not his fault or anything, obviously, but when his grandfather died, I came up to him and I'm like, and I said something along the lines of like, he lived like a very long and fulfilling life. He had a lot of grandkids that would like, that are gonna... I thought too hard of something original that I guess it came off insensitive, like saying as if like, his death wasn't a big a deal because like he lived such a good life.
He lived long life and he had, like, and whatever. He's got grandkids,
which is not what I said, obviously. But I just was trying to make I was trying to like give him therapy. When that's not what you're supposed to do, you're just supposed to say, sorry for your loss or whatever.
Very often, it's such an easy... I think we talked about this, like, quite a while ago now on the podcast, where I was saying that, like, one of the biggest lessons I've been learning recently is that, like... So, in the process of, like, someone healing or going through a thing, my instinct is, like, I want to give advice, I want to be proactive, and then I get frustrated when that advice isn't taken, and, And it's like, when actually that person might have got through that journey a little bit quicker if I just said, I'm really sorry that happened. Like, do you want to talk about it, or do you want to just want to, be heard? Do you want advice or not? And oddly enough, like, just saying like, hey, do you want to just get it out is sometimes a quicker route to the proactive, like, moving on of someone's life than it is to offer advice, because often they know the advice they've already heard it. Probably it's just a case of like dealing and processing in that moment, and a lot of people just need to get it out. They need to, and it seems so. I get it. It seems so counter because like I feel like, no, I want to solve your problem. Here's how you do it. You know what I mean?
Well, so when I told my friend that his response was negative, and after that, I guess I just internalized that too long. And just from now on, I'm like, I don't know how to console people. But no, you're right. Well, that's actually a problem that I have when people do it to me, and that's why I don't do it, which is that you actually did it to me today, which again, not your fault. It's all just me. I'm the problem here, where I have to stop thinking like this, which is you get too used to consoling people. For example, I wasn't feeling awesome today, right? And I told you, I told you that, and then you're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, whatever. And it's like, but that's the same exact response you would have if, like, my father died or something. So it's like...
No, my response if your father died would be so much more than just that.
But I guess at least you're right. You would at least show your face, and your face would be visibly, like, flabbergasted, and you would be like, oh, wow.
Oh, gosh.
But, like, verbally, it sounds like it is the same, at least to me. And then because of that, I feel like patronized whenever when someone's just saying, oh, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way, oh, anything I can do, or whatever, when I'm just, I have like a slight cough or whatever.
That's interesting. So you're feeling bad, someone reaches out support, and your feeling is
patronizing. Even though,
hey, I'm an adult, I can handle my own feelings. Thank you. People are just being,
basically
interesting.
And I have to deal with that, and I brought it up in therapy. But like, and it definitely, obviously, all these things are related to like my social anxiety, because it's like more like, I guess I just don't want you to be uncomfortable. I don't want to like ruin the mood, especially for something that like literally nothing you say would help the mood.
Yep.
Like, for example, I said, I have a slight cough or whatever, and you're like, and you gave your response, but then we moved on. So it's like, if I just didn't say I had a slight cough, we would move on as well, and our life would be the same. It's like, what's the point of bringing the mood down, and now also you like saying sorry to me when it doesn't do anything,
Well, the alternative is I say nothing, and then do you think I don't care? Oh, you're not feeling totally awesome, and then I've ignored you, and so now I'm gonna worry that you think, whoa, I just said that I'm not doing awesome, and Toby's just like, on to the next thing, and it's like, so if I'm hedging my bets on people that will feel patronized versus people that will feel supported, but if you like, I can, for you specifically, try never to support you in these circumstances.
You're objectively doing the most correct thing. I think maybe it's just the tone. I don't know, like, again, you're just a very nice person, and you're doing what you should be doing.
You're quite expressive. If I can try and tone it, I can. Oh, that sucks. And we can under the rug it.
If you were to tell, okay, say something, complain about something, I'll try to give my natural response.
I'll complain about something.
Something real.
Oh gosh, that's so on the spot. Complain about something real. Man. Today I had a brand reach out, and they wanted work done by next. This is real. They genuinely wanted me to get work out by the time of Worlds, and they had to send me something, and they're gonna have to review the video, and there's not enough time, and I'm just saying to them, like, guys, come on, get your ass in gear. Like, I'm sure, like, if you want me to get to work, I need an email response today to get this work out, and I didn't get a response today. It just annoyed me. It frustrates me because I'm on the ball, and they're looking at their emails once a day first thing in the morning. It's like, I need you to be more active in this. So there you go. I don't know. That's just been bugging me.
I wouldn't say, oh, I'm sorry, Toby. Like,
well, why not?
If I were to say that, what would your response be? Because maybe if I started doing that and it would be totally positive, I will start doing that probably, even if it feels uncomfortable to me.
I would feel justified in my annoyance that, like, oh well, look, somebody. Now it depends on how you say it, because say it like you just said it.
No, because
because you know how that sounded. That sounded so
it's
sarcastic.
unnatural for me.
Well, if it's unnatural, don't do it. If it's
I say sorry every second. I say sorry all the time, but I don't say, oh, I'm sorry. I don't say the word "aw." I don't know, like.
I mean, that does sound quite patronizing. I think there's a difference. I don't know. It's intonation.
Yeah, it's okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to be genuine, but that sounds patronizing too.
Are you sorry? You don't sound very sorry.
So that's why, because I personally can't do it, so just based on my experience, I know that's my truth, I guess. So whenever someone else does awe to me, I guess it sounds patronizing to me, because when I do it, it sounds patronizing. So I just say sorry. I'm like, oh, that sucks, sorry.
I do not expect you to not be you. And if it sounds patronizing for you, then don't do it. And if it bugs you when I do it, then you tell me. But otherwise, I'm not going to not be me. And,
exactly.
Because I am genuinely, if you're not feeling totally awesome, I'm not sorry in that I've done something wrong, but I'm just sorry that that's happening. That's lame. No one wants to not be feeling awesome. And I want to let you know I'm here. I'm here, bud.
I guess if you just want to know what I would actually want in that situation.
Yeah, what would you want? What would you like?
It's more like, it's close to what you're saying. It's remove the so, sorry. You can say, it's less it's more like, It's like, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I guess maybe that's a Jewish thing. Like, it's less like, Jews don't go, it's more like, ugh.
Just generalized all Jews. They don't go, They'll
that's
never
how generalization
go,
works. Obviously, not everybody does it. But I mean, it's more guttural. It's more like, ugh. Like, that shows that solidarity, where it's like,
okay.
Instead of,
you're not wanting. Okay, I'm gonna. So, okay, tell me how you're feeling right now.
So say, ugh, sorry.
You gotta lead me in. Tell me how you're feeling right now.
Okay. My chest hurts a bit, actually.
Ugh, that's the worst. How was that? Was that all right? Is that what you look for?
Word-wise, like verbally, what you said was actually what I want, but not the tone.
Ugh, that is the worst.
It's more like, ugh, yeah, that's the worst. Sorry, man.
Ugh, yeah, that's the worst. Sorry, man.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. If you were genuinely said that, I wouldn't mind.
But the problem is you understand now. No, it's not that. It's next time that we're in this exact situation, you're gonna know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna know, and we're all just gonna. But then that'll be great because then that'll give us something to laugh about in the future.
Yeah, I'm only bringing it up because I know that it's gonna be a positive experience.
Yeah,
but,
I like that.
And then like instead of like, if I'm here if you need me, it's more like, if you want to do something, I'm here if you need me. It's less like, I'm here if you need me, which is like a direct, like it's saying as if like you can do something about the cough, and no, it's more like say you can do something about like to prevent me from thinking about the cough, maybe, like you know what I'm saying. You can be like, maybe if you want to play something, you can play a video game or whatever. Obviously, you wouldn't say that because we don't play video games.
We're about
together.
to film a podcast as well, so like
you could be like, I'm sure your mind will be at ease once we start playing, recording the podcast or whatever.
Well, I'm sorry that my reassurance isn't good enough for you, Mr. True Green 7.
I wanted to bring this up on the podcast, obviously less because I don't think my way is more superior. I think it is inferior, but more because I do like addressing the differences in how
everyone's
how
different.
we do everything, because we really are like we the sum of our parts, or no, our parts are so different, but the sum of our parts are really similar. Like
yes,
we're both Poketubers, we're both friendly, I guess. But what makes us up, like the individual like personality and parts of us, are very different.
We are quite different people, and I think I'm realizing that more and more as I do the podcast. Like, we're very different people, but it's nice. It's a good,
it's cool,
good friendship nonetheless. I don't think you need to be critical and say like your way better or my way's better. Yeah. Our ways are different. Yeah. They are what they are. It's you are you and I am me, and part of why you adore someone or like them or that you love them even is their mannerisms and their ways. And I like your Ronisms. I enjoy them very much. I hope you enjoy my Tobyisms.
Yeah, I actually wrote it down. I wanted to bring up Toby's isms, like for example saying and like having the cutesy voice and stuff like that, which is something that I just don't do at all. Oh my god. Whoa. You just... Wow.
Change this podcast forever.
I didn't even know you had it in you. It's... When I thought of bringing it up, it wasn't, Toby, you should change it. It was more like, wow, it's fascinating that you can behave in a completely different way. But that's all of humanity.
That is all of us, yeah.
The fascination of how everybody else is different.
Feels like a good end to whatever you were talking about. You thought I was going to say the podcast. Yeah, that too, I guess. Next one, it'll be you and me in the reels. I'm excited to meet you, man.
Possibly with face cam.
Possibly.
So don't be alarmed when you see our faces.
Yeah. We look exactly like the drawing, though. We'll do the whole podcast with our backs facing. The whole thing with our backs facing. We'll try and find a nice sunset somewhere.
No, we're probably gonna we're the first frame. We're gonna start like that, and then we're gonna turn around, and that's how the podcast starts.
Whoa! We'll frame it up with the artwork.
We'll try,
and have the artwork dissolve, and it'll be like, whoa! Oh my god! They're in real life.
We print out the picture, hold it up to the camera.
It's amazing to me that we've done this whole episode, and we've not spoken about Worlds once. We've barely spoken about you coming over. You see, it's planned, it's calculated. Next time on Yu-Gi-Oh, we'll do it.